Okay, this presentation has to do with the presente progresivo, or the present progressive. And the present progressive is a tense that indicates something that is going on right now. The present tense can also indicate that something is going on now, but the present progressive is a tense that makes it more specific, that is actually right now, as opposed to you do this regularly or sometimes you do this. But this tense, the presente progresivo, indicates that you are doing this or somebody is doing this right now. So we call this putting the pieces together, because the present progressive, like many tenses in Spanish, is going to require two pieces. All right, and it's important to know that the two pieces must go together in order to form one tense. We haven't had this before, so this is a little bit different. Right, the present progressive is a tense that indicates the action is taking place right now, and that's the part that's different from the present tense. It's taking place right now. For example, we are walking. They are watching TV. You are running in the park. She is talking on the phone. This part, we are walking, for example, that is the verb. The verb is to walk, but we are walking. Not we are and not walking, but we are walking. All right, so remember, it's not just are and it's not just watching, but it's are watching. It's not just running and not just are, but you are running. She is talking. It's both parts make up one verb. There's going to be an auxiliary, are, is, so forth, am, I am. But the verb itself is to walk, to watch, to run, to talk. So we are walking, they are watching, you are running, she is talking. So to form the present progressive, remember we said it's putting the pieces together, so we have one part here, and we have one part here. We have the present tense of estar, and we have the present participle. We have estar and we have the present participle. And the present participle would be like saying ing in English. So talking, eating, reading, swimming, and writing. So we take the verb estar, and you remember that that's estoy, estás, está, estamos, están. And then we add to that, we add hablando, comiendo, leyendo, nadando, escribiendo. We're going to add some word that either has ando or yendo in the ending. This one's a little bit of an exception, which we'll explain later. But hablando, comiendo, leyendo, nadando, and escribiendo. These verbs all have ando or yendo in the ending. Alright, some examples would be, yo estoy poniendo la mesa. I am setting the table. Remember, this whole thing, estoy poniendo, that is your verb. Not just estoy, not just poniendo, but yo estoy poniendo la mesa. Estoy poniendo. Estamos estudiando is the verb. Estás jugando is your verb. Están durmiendo is your verb. And está comiendo is the verb. So if on a quiz you have something that says, write down, Elena is eating with her friends. And you say, well, do you want just está? Do you just want comiendo? Remember that it's not a verb until you have both parts. So it's not just está, it's just not comiendo. So the answer would be, you need two parts. Two parts make up one verb. Alright, here's some examples of present tense of regular verbs. And remember, if it's an AR verb, it will end in ando. And if it's an ER verb or an IR verb, it's going to end in yendo. And remember, there was one little exception there, that was leyendo, where that I changed to a Y because you just didn't want to have all those vowels together. So I changed to Y in the verb leer, leyendo. So here are some examples. Comprar would be comprando, and look what you do. You take off the AR. Now you're going to see a video that says just take off the R. Well, it does come out to that, but the rule is take off the AR, add ando. Take off the ER, add yendo. Take off the IR, add yendo. So really the ER and the IR verbs, ER and IR verbs are the same. You're going to take off the infinitive ending and add yendo. Alright, so we have comprar, comprando, esperar, esperando, and so forth. Correr, corriendo, vivir, viviendo. And so you can come back and always review these little videos, but that gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. And remember, that's only the present participle. The present participle is the word that ends in ando or yendo, but the present progressive is both parts. Okay, some of the irregulars that you'll come across will be venir, for example. That E is going to change to I, so viniendo instead of veniendo. So viniendo, sentir, to feel, is going to be sintiendo. Decir, we already know, is going to be diciendo. And remember, that was a stem change, E to I, when we said digo, dices, dice, and so forth. Venir is an E to IE, but here it's only going to be the I. Dormir is an O to UE, but here it's going to be just the U, so durmiendo. Morir we haven't had, it means to die, and that's muriendo. Okay? So these stem changes do not necessarily occur in the present, but they do occur in the present participle, which is used in the present progressive. Alright, we're going to watch a video here, and the video
Hola, en esta lección vamos a hablar del presente progresivo de los verbos. We use the present progressive to tell something is happening right now. Before watching this video, you might go ahead and watch the video on the chores, since I use a lot of the vocabulary from that video in this one. Look at the descriptions and the pictures. Say sí if the description is correct, and say no if it's incorrect. Por ejemplo, ¿José está sacudiendo los muebles? No, está lavando la ropa. ¿Jorge está tendiendo la cama? Sí, está tendiéndola.
Okay, it doesn't matter right now if we know what these verbs are. Está tendiendo la cama, está. We did not have these, all of these so far, but let's just learn to recognize yendo. Okay, don't worry about this right now. Yéndola, tendiéndola has to do with adding a direct object pronoun, so we're not going to worry about that right now, but just get used to seeing this yendo, está tendiéndola. Alright, just get used to seeing that so far. Most of these you will recognize.
Raúl y Héctor están barriendo el piso.
Están barriendo el piso. Okay, we had another...
no, están pasando la aspiradora.
We may have had some other terms. Some of these are from Spain.
¿Estás lavando el carro?
Okay, estás lavando, we know that one.
Sí, estoy lavándolo. ¿Ustedes están pasando la aspiradora?
Okay, están pasando la aspiradora, we know that. There's your auxiliary. And
No,
there's,
estamos lavando la
and there's
ropa.
your pasando.
Víctor y Carmen están lavando los trastes.
Okay, están lavando en los trastes.
No, Carmen está lavándolos Pero Víctor está sacando la basura.
Okay, so they're using that for black,
Pilar
but we
está
have another
ordenando
word.
el cuarto. No, está leyendo su correo electrónico.
Okay, and here's your leyendo
Las
reading.
chicas están poniendo la mesa.
Okay, let's stop that right there and just go back just a little bit to where we had leyendo. Right here we have está leyendo. Remember we said that it should be iendo, I-E-N-D-O, as the ending for an ER verb. But when we have an E, an I, and an E together, it's just a lot easier to say leyendo. So that I changed to Y right there.
Las chicas están poniendo la mesa. Alicia sí está poniéndola, pero Dolores está hablando por teléfono. Now, like I said, in the video, we're talking about the present progressive. Did you notice the verbs looked a little bit different in those examples? First of all, we had the forms of estar, but we also had something else. It looks a little bit different. Let's take a closer look. Can you find lavar, sacar, pasar, ordenar, o hablar?
Remember, if it's an AR verb, you're going to be looking for something that says ando.
Strange. They've lost the R and added N-D-O.
Okay, remember the rule here really is to drop the AR, and add ando. So really ando was added to that. He's making it a little bit shorter here to remember it better, but the rule would be the same. Drop the AR, add ando, and it's easier then to remember that the ER and IR are dropped to form yendo.
So, está lavando would be he or she is washing. Ustedes están pasando la aspiradora would be you are all vacuuming. Están lavando, they are washing. Está ordenando el cuarto, he or she is cleaning the room. Está hablando por teléfono, he or she is talking on the phone. Estoy lavando, I am washing. What about ER and IR verbs like sacudir, tender, barrer, poner, leer? Aha! They take off the ER or IR and add I-E-N-D-O.
Okay, let me just point out, as long as we're looking at this, where you have something like the lo or the we have los, we have la. Where we have these extra words, I know you recognize those as direct object pronouns. So, for example, where it says la, tendiéndola, the la, of course, stands for la cama, making up the bed. This one, lavándolo, the lo stands for el carro. Where we have los, that stands for los trastes. Where we have poniéndola, that la stands for la mesa, setting it, meaning the table.
Está sacudiendo los muebles, he or she is dusting the furniture. Está tendiendo la cama, he or she is making the bed. Están barriendo el piso, they are sweeping the floor. Están poniendo la mesa, they are setting the table. There is one exception in these. Did you notice that? Yeah, está leyendo. He or she is reading. Interesting. Notice that leer changes to leyendo with a Y. If we changed it normally, it would look like this, L-E-I-E-N-D-O. But I guess the I gets a little bit shy between two vowels and turns into a Y.